Well, as the holidays approach, we're lucky to get at least one or two more interviews in on KSPK's Grizzly Connect. Bryant Johnson with you this evening as we have Jordan Stillwagon with the ASC lacrosse program joining us. The word epic was used to describe your mustache. Is there any competition on your team with this beautiful piece of facial hair that our listeners can't see, but those on YouTube are fortunate to get to check out?
No, I'm really the only kid on the team with this kind of a mustache. There's other kids with facial hair, but none like the mustache. So
The mustache, you're capitalizing it. I like. What was it? Was it for Movember, or was this just something that you're like, I can grow a better mustache than all of you?
no, it was more. It started out with No Shave November, where it was all the facial hair, and then it turned into the Chris-moustache. So it's kind of a family tradition that we have. It's like you can't come to Christmas dinner unless you have a mustache. So that's
How many mustaches are going to be around the Stillwagon Christmas table?
There was quite a few last year. All the guys had one, and then my mom and my sister got creative and made mustaches for all the women at the table, so it was a good time.
What do you do with it? Is it a Sharpie? I mean, how do you construct a mustache for the females?
They had, like, different cutouts of felt. There was, like, cotton balls glued together. There was a whole bunch of different crazy ones.
What does it take to get an invite?
You have to have a mustache. Okay. And then that's really it. As long as you have a mustache, you're welcome to eat at our table.
It's Jordan Stillwagon with the ASC lacrosse team. You know, lacrosse, for people that aren't around it, there's just a unique aspect of the team, the character of the players. I don't know, compared to other sports you've taken part in, but if you're trying to let people know that this is just how a lot of lacrosse players are. You guys know how to be serious, but you have a lot of fun. What is it about lacrosse that brings out the type of personality that you're showing to our viewers and listeners basically every single day?
What lacrosse players like to call it is swag. We just have, like, we're very outgoing, and that's just how it is. I don't know. We have our own characteristics about us. We're all really good athletes, and we're willing to play any sport. You put us on the field, we'll play anything. We'll play basketball, we'll play soccer, we'll play football. And I don't know, you don't see that in a whole lot of other athletes. Like, you don't see football players coming out and playing lacrosse. It's a very specialized sport, but at the same time, lacrosse players can go out and do any other sport too.
There still isn't a blueprint for lacrosse. I mean, you mentioned football. So for football and basketball and baseball, that's a century-old sport in this country where there's a reputation based on Hollywood and everything you've seen. It's like there are certain ways basketball and football players are expected to conduct themselves. Outside of the East Coast, lacrosse is still so fresh, so new in the West that it's almost like you're putting your thumbprint on the style of this sport. What makes that such a big draw in itself that it really is such a new sport in this part of the country?
Well, being that it is such a new sport, we're trying to make it so everybody gets into it, because it's the fastest growing sport in the West. It's the fastest growing sport in Colorado. And when I first started, I had seen it, but I never knew what it was. I never even heard of the game of lacrosse. And as soon as I started playing, I just fell in love. So it was just awesome.
Sophomore defender Jordan Stillwagon with the ASC lacrosse program. You were voted captain, actually a majority vote, one of the largest majority votes on the team back in October. Was it your goal when you arrived to maybe become a captain, or what do you feel like changed since you've been here? You arrived in the second semester last year, played in all the games with ASC last season that created the respect from your teammates.
It was more, I wasn't coming in to try and become a captain and show everybody up. It was whether I became captain or not, I was just going to be a leader on the field, represent how I played. I'm not one of the captains where I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm going to show you what you're doing, what to do better by the way I play, lead by example, rather than, oh, you're doing this wrong. That's not my position. I'm not a coach. I'm there to help out with those who need it and who ask for it. But other than that, I'm just a normal player.
Well, and you mentioned the coaching aspect of it, and from a broader perspective, from fans who are still a little concerned with the technical aspect of lacrosse, and they feel like, man, it's overwhelming, and a lot of people do feel like lacrosse is overwhelming. How do you try to get people's attention to just get to games and just go and give the sport a try?
I can see how there's a lot of people who see how it's overwhelming and everything, but it's so many different sports combined that after you watch it the first time, you ask so many questions, and then you just want to go back again because you're learning so much, because you're hanging around with people afterwards, and you're like, what happened here? What happened here? And then, so you're just, all right, I'm going to come back, and I know what's going on now. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to find out more. Like, it draws you in. It really does. It brings everybody together. It's awesome.
Now, I was the guy, and KSPK was last year. We were the ones reading Lacrosse for Dummies before we had the Mesa State and the ASC game at Invesco Field. But you're right. I mean, it goes from being intrigued by the sport when you're watching practices, and then you watch an actual game. And lacrosse has been very proactive in making sure that teams can't come in and stall and really try and make it a boring affair. It seems like lacrosse is, and the hierarchy is very aware that you have to get spectators. Yeah. What do you think is something that people really aren't aware yet about lacrosse that makes it so exciting, so the sport is always so active?
What I've heard it said by lacrosse players and lacrosse announcers from the very top, or commenting on major league games, it's the fastest sport on 2 feet. It's you're always moving. Your head's moving back and forth all the time. And the one question I hear the most is, can you really do that in the game? And yeah, you can. You hit people. You hit people with your stick. Throw crazy tricks, crazy maneuvers, and you're throwing a rubber ball at 100-mile-an-hour plus, and goalies are stopping it and not seeing it at all. And it's something you haven't seen before, but it's so many different sports combined: hockey, basketball, the hitting of hockey, the hitting of football, the defense of basketball, the speed of soccer. It's everything.
Oh yeah, they're legitimately rubber bullets coming at you.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Stillwagon, excellent ambassador for the game, man. We're really great having you,
Yeah.
and have fun over Christmas. Give me a full report on the new felt mustaches this year.
You got it.